Greetings. I am Mike. No, I don't talk like that. I'm Mike. I'm a dentist. Today, we're talking about dentures. I snap my fingers a lot at the beginning of videos. I don't know why I do that. I'm like, this is my we're ready to go. It's actually hard for me to do this I think this is a Star Trek symbol, right? Like my fingers want to pop apart and I have to really focus to, I don't know if that's easy for you. I can't do it at all with this hand. That's me trying as hard as I can to bring these two fingers together. I don't have the coordination to do it. Actually, I'm not big on Star Trek, actually. I've seen the new ones, like the J.J. Abrams ones. I wasn't raised on Star Trek or anything, for those of you at home who were wondering. Anyway, I'm Mike. I'm a dentist. We're going to talk about dentures. Maybe you already have dentures. Maybe a family member already has dentures. Maybe you're considering getting dentures. Maybe a family member is considering getting dentures. Maybe you have teeth, maybe you don't have teeth anymore. I don't know what your situation is. We're going to talk a lot about things that would be applicable to all of the above such people. What are reasonable expectations to have with dentures? That's what I want to help make clear for you. Most people have no idea how dentures work, all right? If you're clueless about dentures, you are in the majority, okay? They are nothing like natural teeth. Most people think that they are. People think you can just take all your teeth out, throw in some dentures, and everything is great. It is often not. There are limitations to what you can do with dentures that can be improved with dental implants, but there are also still limitations to what can be done with dental implants. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to help you understand your options in this video so you can make a smarter choice about the denture option that is going to be best for you, or maybe even whether you should be taking your teeth out and getting dentures, right? Maybe your teeth are still savable. Maybe your teeth can still be rescued. Because here's the thing, I've talked to lots of patients who have told me after they've gotten dentures that they regretted the decision. Yeah, that's not fun to hear. That sucks to hear someone say that they wish they hadn't done a major medical procedure. We want to avoid that. That's not good. We don't want that. Personally, I very rarely recommend that patients get all their teeth removed and have dentures placed unless they're in a pretty desperate spot, right? You have to be in pretty bad shape. Basically, your teeth are non-functional or very close, much headed in that direction. Your smile has to be something you're very, very dissatisfied with. Unless you're going to get implants, I really try to push people away from dentures. Dentures are a last resort. I've talked to too many patients who, tell me they regret getting dentures and they had no idea how hard it was going to be, how uncomfortable it was going to be, how they weren't going to ever be able to function the same way they did with their natural teeth. They just never have those expectations, and that's sad. That's not good. I want to make sure that I'm giving you clarity on what to expect when you're removing and replacing teeth. And like I said, I don't make a lot of dentures. You might be thinking well, maybe this dentist just stinks at making dentures. He's making all these garbage dentures for people. No, most of the patients who come to me, I've actually never had a patient who I've made dentures for who's told me that they regretted it, because I'm very careful about when I make that recommendation. But there are definitely other patients I've seen who have come to me with dentures that they really don't like, and they're like, hey, I hate these, can you fix them? And a lot of the times the answer is not really, not without dental implants, and a lot of patients can't afford dental implants, so rock in a hard place, right? We don't like that, which again is why I have this YouTube channel that tries to teach as many people as possible that you can keep your natural teeth, you can take care of your natural teeth, you don't have to lose your teeth, and you can do most of the work doing that at home without the help of a dentist, all right? You are powerful, your teeth are valuable, let's keep your teeth healthy. Bottom line I'm trying to get across right at the front end of this video, dentures are a poor substitute for teeth. They do not do all of the things that our beautiful, wonderful, lovely, natural teeth do, okay? I want to get that point across. So that's one reason I'm making this video, right? At the risk of being blasted by the internet for being a terrible, horrible, no good, callous dental man, I want to help you understand the reality of losing teeth, what that's actually like, what it's like to try to replace teeth. I want you to fully understand what you're getting yourself into, because most people have no idea. Also, if you are a successful denture wearer or you've had a really good experience with getting dentures supported by implants, please share that information in the comments, right? Let other people watching this video know, hey, there's hope. It's not all doom and gloom. Don't listen to crazy Mike Frank and his dental doom and gloom nonsense. I don't want people to walk away from this video being like, man, there's no hope and I'm just never gonna. No, if you're in a situation where you need to get dentures or you need to get implant supported dentures, I want to give you information in this video that's going to help you with that as well. But one of the biggest problems I see, at least in a lot of the patients that I run into out in the dental world, is that there is not a lot of clear understanding about what goes into getting dentures and what dentures are really like. That's something I'm trying to fix with this video. That's the primary problem. But if you've had really good experiences, share that information. Tell people your tips and tricks for getting used to dentures and how to do better with dentures, and share in the comments. I think that's all really potentially positive stuff that could come out of this as well. So if you get dentures or implant supported dentures, we want to get the best possible result out of that as well. But I also want to help spare as many people as possible having to get dentures or implant supported dentures, because in the end, I do think natural teeth are better. Okay, pause the video, read this. You're still going to have to go over all these things with your individual dental care provider. I can't answer every single question, and things vary from provider to provider. Okay, with that thorough warning being issued, let's say you're still leaning toward getting dentures. Your teeth are in bad shape, you can't afford to fix them, stuff hurts, you don't like your smile. Dentures or implant supported dentures look like your only option. Obviously, you need to consult with your dentist to make sure that is actually true, but if you two come together and you decide, yep, we got to go the denture route, what do those options look like? So there are 4 basic routes when it comes to getting dentures, right? 4 different types of dentures that you can get. Number 1 is what we call an immediate denture. This is a denture that goes in the same day that you get your teeth removed. The second option would be what you would consider a standard denture. This is a denture that's made after your teeth have already been missing for 6 months or longer. The third option is an implant supported denture that is removable. This is also known as a snap-in denture. And the fourth option is a screw-retained implant supported denture. This is one that does not come out of your mouth, right? It's screwed in there, it's in there solid. This is the one that's going to feel the most similar to real teeth. So immediate denture, okay, that sounds pretty great, right? Immediate, right? American consumers, we love things immediately, right? Instant gratification. Let's pop in those immediate dentures, go get some fast food, and whip out of that parking lot in our tricked out sports car. America! America! Well, hold on just 1 minute there, cowboy. Immediate doesn't mean exactly what you think it means. Did we stick something in your mouth right after your teeth got removed? Yes. Does that mean that what we stuck in your mouth is going to necessarily feel good or look good or function well? Not so much. See, when you remove teeth, your body does not heal immediately. It takes about 2 weeks for those extraction sites where the teeth were removed, for the gum tissue to heal over those, right? So you don't have an open sore basically in your mouth. And then after those initial 2 weeks, over the course of the next year, the bone underneath that gum tissue is going to change in shape quite a bit. So when you first put in those immediate dentures, they're probably going to fit pretty snug because the tissue is actually going to swell, and those dentures kind of act as a bandage to reduce that swelling a little bit and protect the extraction sites. So they can be nice in that respect. But as that swelling goes down over those first couple of weeks, those dentures are going to loosen up. And then that tissue is going to continue to change and shrink in shape over the course of the next year quite a bit, and those dentures are going to loosen up even more. So you'll make some trips back to your dentist and they'll do adjustments on the dentures. They'll do what's called a temporary reline, which is where we add material to the underside of the denture to make it fit tight again, right? Because it's getting loose, it's wobbling around, you can't use it. All right, so we add material to the underside, adapt it to your gum tissue, make it a little tighter again. The tissue is going to shrink and it's going to get loose again. You'll go back for another reline, and over the course of the first year. Then at the end of that first year, if you like the way your immediate dentures look, you could do a permanent hard reline, and it's not really permanent, but it will last you another couple years before you would have to do another reline. So that's the other issue with immediate dentures. You might not like the way they look. When we take all of your teeth out and put dentures in right away, we didn't get any chance to see what those dentures are going to look like once they're in your mouth, right? We didn't get any kind of a trial period. So things are always a little bit of a guess as to how those dentures are going to look and feel, how much your tissue is going to change and adapt. They're a little bit of a shot in the dark, and you may not be happy with what they look like. We have to take our best guess at how your bone is going to heal and how the teeth are going to sit in the mouth but it's always a guess. The alignment might be a little bit off. So with immediate dentures, you're going to be sore because you're healing. They're going to get loose. It's going to take several months to get used to eating and talking with them. You might not like how they look. So immediate dentures are usually more expensive because they require more relines and maintenance. Also, if you don't like the way they look, you're going to end up having to make a whole new set of dentures, and your insurance isn't going to help pay for those at all. So if you go with immediate dentures, sometimes it ends up costing just as much as it would be to make 2 sets of dentures. So what's the next alternative to immediate dentures that nobody really likes when I recommend, but I recommend them anyway? So what I try to do is convince patients to wait for a little while after they've had their teeth extracted before they get their dentures made. I try to get you to look a little bit further into the future, a little bit past the immediate gratification of putting teeth in the day you have them removed. But you don't have to agree with me. Everyone gets to make their own choices. You can tell the YouTube dental man to stuff it, and you can go ahead and go with the immediate dentures. But also, I don't want to hear you complain about how much you hate your immediate dentures if you do that. I'm sorry, but I can't take on all your emotional baggage for you. I know it sucks. I don't want you to be in this position. I don't want you to be experiencing what you're experiencing. But also, if I think about it too much, it just makes me sad. And then I don't have the energy to help anyone either. And that doesn't, that's not very useful, is it? So I will try to help you get the most out of your immediate dentures. I'll try to answer questions for you and so on and such forth. But the most isn't very much when it comes to an immediate denture. They're just not that much fun. Sorry, but that is the reality of the situation. So why is it that waiting helps with the dentures so much? Well, if we wait for you to heal for a while, we can do what are called wax try-ins, right? Your teeth are no longer present, so we can put versions of your future dentures in your mouth made up of wax with teeth set up on them, so you know what the dentures are going to look like. You get to look at the dentures in a mirror and say, I like this, I don't like that, can we change this, can we change that? You get to talk with these in your mouth, try to figure out, am I going to be able to speak correctly? It's a process learning how to talk again with dentures, and having these wax try-ins gives us an opportunity to figure out, is this going to be negatively affecting any of the sounds you're going to need to be able to make in order to speak clearly? You get to preview how the dentures are going to make the rest of your face look, whether or not they're an appropriate height for your jaws. These wax try-ins, this is an opportunity for you to test drive the car, right? Take those dentures for a spin, get a preview of what that experience is going to be like, and try to dial it in to work well for you. The other great thing about having waited is now your jaw bones and gum tissue have healed a lot more, and when we take the final impressions for your dentures, those are going to fit a lot more tightly, and that tissue isn't going to change shape as rapidly, so you're not going to have to do relines as soon, right? Your dentures are going to fit more snugly and be more comfortable, cause less tissue irritation. Ideally, it's best to wait about 6 months after having your teeth pulled before you would have your dentures made. Now, so far in my dental career, I have only been able to convince one patient to wait that long to get his dentures, right? I get it. You have stuff to do. You want teeth. Most people, pretty much everybody, is not willing to wait that long. Okay, fine. But if you can wait at least 6 to 8 weeks, all right, a significant amount of healing is going to have taken place in that time period, and you're going to get a better result, right? If you can wait 6 months, you're a Grandmaster champion, but at least give it a month and a half to 2 months. That's going to help your dentist out a lot. That's going to help you out a lot in the end. Also, since you waited, you're not going to have to spend money on a second set of dentures anytime soon. Most dental insurance companies are only going to help you pay for a new set of dentures about once every 5 years, right? So you got to make those last. And I'll be honest, if you have both upper and lower dentures, you're pretty much wasting your money on dental insurance because you're going to end up paying more in premiums over the course of that 5 years than they're ever going to reimburse you for a new set of dentures 5 years later. I mean, do the math. Why would they pay out more money than they're collecting from you? And it's like a little more unpredictable if you have teeth, but like if you have dentures and you know they're not going to cover anything for those dentures for 5 years, no matter what, why are you paying the insurance company? But what do I know? I'm just a big dumb dental boy. So that's immediate and standard dentures. What are the limitations to these dentures? Well, for any dentures that aren't supported by implants, you're only going to get about 25% of the chewing ability you would get out of natural teeth. It's going to be harder to eat things. I'm sorry, but that is sort of your life now. At first, you're going to want to focus on chewing small bites on your back teeth, right? It's going to take a while to get used to doing that, getting used to working with the dentures without them moving around on you. Another drawback of dentures without implants, lots of patients do not like their lower dentures, right? The lower denture ends up not getting good suction. Your upper denture, you have the whole roof of your mouth to work with. Those can get suction that they really stay in tight. You know, with the upper denture, you can get suction like a suction cup on a window, and those stay in pretty well. Not really the case with the lower denture. The jawbone on the lower is a lot thinner. Your tongue is in the way, so lower dentures tend to float around and move around a lot. Patients don't like them. Here's the other bummer with dentures that aren't supported by implants. You continue to lose bone over time. When you chew on dentures, the denture compresses against your jawbone, and that compression causes you to lose bone. So the denture gets loose over time. You go and do a reline every few years. Then it gets loose again, you do another reline, it gets loose again, you do another reline. Eventually, you've lost a ton of bone in your jaws, and making new dentures that are going to fit well, it's not really a good option because there's just not enough bone support left for the dentures to grip onto. So, given all of that information, I do try to steer patients toward implant-supported dentures. Implants help maintain your jawbone in a similar way that natural teeth do, so you don't lose as much bone over time. The implants help stabilize the dentures a lot. These are more expensive than the other two options, but they do provide a better quality of life. So the first type of implant-supported denture is a removable or snap-in implant-supported denture. These are especially useful for lower dentures, right? Like I said, a lot of people don't like their lower dentures. You put a couple of implants to help support that lower denture, it makes a world of difference. So even if you're worried about cost, I would strongly recommend discussing with your dentist the possibility of a couple implants to support your lower denture. Go with a standard denture on your upper, right? Those can get good suction, but try to talk to them about getting a couple implants to support and attach the lower denture to. That's going to give you a lot more stability for all the fun stuff like talking and chewing. You know, talking and chewing, those fairly fundamental things that we do as human beings. So the way these work, usually it's best to have the implants placed at the time that your teeth are extracted. Now, you may have seen commercials for like teeth in a day, or, you know, like immediate loading of dentures where you walk out and the dentures are attached to the implants. These are usually not that. With these lower snap-in dentures, typically you're only putting in 2 implants. In order to walk out with teeth attached to the implants same day, you have to put in at least 4 implants. If you try to do it with less than 4 implants, you're running the risk that those implants are going to fail. If an implant fails, then you have to start over. I doubt that you want to do that. So you have your teeth taken out, you have the implants put in your lower jaw. You can have immediate dentures made too, but they're not going to be attached to the implants yet. Now, snap-in dentures can also be done on the upper jaw. Like, let's say that you've had dentures for a long time and you can't get good suction anymore with an upper denture. You can put some implants up there and do a snap-in denture option on the upper. However, you're going to have to put in at least 4 implants for the upper, because if you only put in 2, it's going to drop down because gravity. On the lower, gravity is in our favor. The point is, on the upper, you're always going to do at least 4 implants. On the lower, you can get away with 2. So it's a little less expensive. Okay, so teeth are out, implants are in, then you wait usually about 4 months to make sure that the bone heals in around the implants and that the implants are solid and strong in the bone. We want strong bone support around the implants before we try to load them with the teeth. So do you have teeth in during those 4 months? Like I said, yes, you could have immediate dentures made, but you may not like how those feel, you may not like how those look. So let's say you had immediate dentures made and you like how those look. Well, 4 months later, you can have them remolded to attach to the implants. Let's say you don't like how your immediate dentures look, then you're probably looking at making a new set of dentures that will then attach to your implants. again, this may increase the cost of your dentures. The really good news here is that when I talk to patients who have had their teeth removed and have implant-supported dentures, they are generally much happier than patients who have had their teeth removed and had regular dentures, right? Again, these are snap-in dentures, so you do take them out at night when you're sleeping. You do still have to clean these. You do still have to clean around the implants that are in your mouth. I do want to make clear these are still not the same as natural teeth, right? It's still a very different experience than eating and talking and working with natural teeth, right? It's not the same. You still don't have the same bite force. They still don't feel as solid as natural teeth. There can be some wiggle, some movement. It's still a prosthetic in your mouth, right? You know, a prosthetic leg or a prosthetic arm, you know, it may function really well. In some ways, it's still not the same as having your natural arm or leg. There's still some bulk to the acrylic material that it feels like you have something extra in your mouth. You have something a little foreign in your mouth that takes some getting used to. And some patients can't really get used to it. You know, that acrylic, it touches their tongue, it pushes back on their soft palate in ways that it causes a gag reflex, and they just can't really get used to it. Some patients really struggle with dentures due to gag reflexes, and you know, this option isn't necessarily going to make that better. So that leads us to our fourth option, right? The closest thing we have to natural teeth, recreating natural teeth, and that would be screw-retained implant-supported dentures. These things are generally pretty nice. Patients like these. A lot of patients, once they have these, they wish they'd done it sooner, right? Very different reaction, much better reaction than getting your teeth taken out and getting standard dentures. All right, let's talk about some of the benefits of screw-retained implant-supported dentures. One, no gag reflex, right? Because these dentures are locked in place by screws, we don't have to extend the denture acrylic back toward the roof of your mouth. We don't have to extend it down underneath your tongue to try to lock around the ridge on the lower jaw. These are much more comfortable. There's much less extension of denture material, so you're not going to gag. These feel a lot more like natural teeth. Great news for patients who've struggled with traditional dentures because of a gag reflex. Number two, you don't have to take these out, right? They stay in. Morning and night, you sleep in them. They become very much a natural part of how you look and feel. They're locked in there. The only person who can take these things out would be your dentist. These are our strongest denture option. They are most closely going to recreate the chewing experience you had when you had natural teeth. For many patients, these are also going to give you the nicest, most natural look as far as the teeth are concerned, right? That's not actually true for every single patient. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. For some patients, traditional dentures or snap-in dentures are going to look better than these, but for many patients, these are going to give a very natural appearance to the teeth. So, as I say on my channel all the time, I am very much all about preventative medicine, helping you keep your natural teeth healthy so you don't have to replace your teeth, so you don't have to fix your teeth. But with that being said, what type of patient should consider getting an implant-supported, screw-retained denture? So if you are the type of patient who has struggled for a long time with tooth loss, you've been trying to work with your dentist, but you continue having teeth breaking down, losing teeth, always having high dental bills, trying to repair things, trying to fix things, not really getting a good result that way. If you've struggled a lot trying to wear removable partial dentures, those are uncomfortable for you. You don't have a whole lot of teeth left to support those. You've been on a little bit of a tooth loss treadmill, and despite your best efforts and the best efforts of your dentist, things are continuing to go downhill for you. This can happen with patients as we get older. A lot of patients are on multiple medications. Those can cause dry mouth. Dry mouth can be something that makes it a lot harder to avoid tooth decay. Now, it can be done. I have other videos on my channel that talk about how to deal with dry mouth, how to avoid cavities. Check those out. They might be helpful for you. But let's say you've already watched those videos, you've already tried that advice and advice from your dentist, and things just keep going wrong with your teeth, and you're getting sick of it. You're just really tired of all these problems with your teeth always coming up, and we're still trending downhill, and your dentist is worried that you're not going to be able to maintain your natural teeth. It may be time to talk about an implant-supported denture. That just might be an easier road for you. And again, if you're in this situation and you're getting ready to make this investment, I would strongly encourage you to consider an implant-supported option, because patients who go from natural teeth to standard dentures, again, often are dissatisfied with that transition. Much less so if they go from natural teeth to an implant supported denture. I just don't hear the same, sense of regret or disappointment with patients who get implant supported dentures compared to traditional dentures. And that's not to say that everyone who gets a traditional denture is disappointed. There are plenty of happy denture patients out there, but there's also plenty of people who are disappointed. So that's patient number one that should consider these. Who's patient number two who should consider these? Well, someone who has traditional dentures and doesn't like them, right? If you have dentures and you hate them, I would look at getting some implants, right? That could really help you out. Now, a third type of patient who I do not recommend, right? I do not recommend getting these implant supported dentures is a patient who really just does not like the appearance of their teeth, right? I see some of these cases where patients are getting all of their teeth removed and getting them replaced with these implant supported dentures. And yes, it does make their teeth look way better all of a sudden, right? You've got a nice straight smile and the teeth are much whiter and everything's lined up and it looks great. But a lot of times I look at those cases and I think, man, they really could have fixed that in other ways that wouldn't have been quite as drastic of a surgical procedure. So, orthodontics and restorative dentistry using bonding materials and crowns and veneers can still be excellent ways to reshape a patient's smile and change the way your smile appears that aren't nearly as invasive as taking all of your teeth out and replacing them with these implant supported dentures. I want to make clear, implants and screw retained dentures can still break down, right? They can fail. They're not without complications and limitations. These surgeries aren't simple. It's a big investment and it's not without risks. So I would just thoroughly evaluate your options, right? Talk to your dentist. You might be pleasantly surprised by how much less expensive and less invasive it might be to fix your teeth, as they are using your natural teeth compared to taking them all out and going a denture route. Then again, if your dentist tells you, hey, sorry, your teeth are in really bad shape and it's really not worth it to try to save these, well then that's your answer. And also, it never hurts to get more than one opinion from more than one dentist before you make this decision, right? It's a significant decision. You should take some time to thoroughly evaluate your options. I do also need to point out that not every patient who is missing their teeth is a good candidate for screw retained implant dentures, right? If you've been missing your teeth for a long time, you might not be able to get a good result from having this treatment. As soon as you have your teeth removed, you start losing bone from your jaws. The bone resorbs, right? It shrinks down from the front and also from the top of the ridge of bone on both the upper and the lower. When you don't have teeth, that's why you see patients' faces, their lips, their cheeks all drooping in, kind of caving in. And that happens more and more as that bone resorbs over time. The face kind of, I don't know if that's being insensitive, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to describe what happens. Our teeth and our jaw bones help fill out our face. And this is actually where regular dentures or snap-in dentures have an advantage over screw-retained implant dentures. Traditional dentures, that acrylic material that goes up underneath the lips and out toward the cheeks, can help push out and fill out the lips and cheeks so that your face looks fuller. With screw-retained implant-supported dentures, we actually can't have those flanges sticking out to help support the tissue of the face. The reason being is because food would get stuck underneath those flanges. Since you can't take these dentures out at home, you can't clean underneath that flange when food and so on gets packed underneath it, right? You can't reach up there and get underneath it to clean it. This can both significantly increase the irritation to your gum tissue and increase the risk of implant failure from food debris and bacterial buildup. Basically, your dentist is going to have to evaluate if this is going to be a problem for you based on your current level of bone loss. So if you've had a lot of bone loss, if your teeth have been missing for a long time, you might have to go with a snap-in denture as opposed to a screw-retained denture. If you still have a decent number of your natural teeth, they're just broken down and not really fixable, this is unlikely to be a problem for you because those tooth roots, even if you just have the roots of the teeth in place, those actually are helping maintain the bone levels and you should be able to place a screw-retained implant denture. The other problem that disqualifies some patients from being able to have this treatment is if you have a very high lip line when you smile, right? If your lip goes up really high when you smile, or if you have what we call a really gummy smile, where you smile and you show a lot of gum tissue, you show a lot of that ridge of bone above your teeth when you smile, that could be a problem that makes it very difficult to make a screw-retained implant denture for you. So why is that a problem? Well, if you show a lot of natural gum tissue when you smile, the goal of these implant-supported dentures is to hide that, right? We want, when you smile with an implant-supported denture, we don't want anyone to be able to see your natural gum tissue, because these implant-supported dentures are going to sit right on top of that gum tissue, and there would be a mismatch between what the denture looks like and what your natural gum tissue looks like, right? So we want that transition from denture material to natural gum tissue to be hidden by your lip. If your lip rises up really high, or if you have a ton of, bone and gum tissue, a very tall upper arch of your mouth, you might not be able to hide that, and it's not going to look right. Everybody's going to be able to tell, oh, you've got like an appliance in there. Those aren't your natural teeth. And again, we can't cover up that natural gum tissue by extending that flange of a denture up, because then you won't be able to clean under it. Another important factor to consider with these types of dentures is any history of clenching or grinding. A lot of patients out there can really ruin their teeth by clenching and grinding over the course of a lifetime, right? And if that's how your teeth got beat up, and you've destroyed your teeth, and you're thinking, you want to have these implant-supported dentures because your teeth have been ground down to nothing, that could be a problem for the implant-supported dentures as well, right? These dentures have to have a certain thickness to them to be able to withstand those kind of clenching forces without breaking, and gaining that thickness isn't always easy depending on your jaw relationship, how long those teeth have been ground down, how much bone you have left, how your muscles and jaw joints have adapted, or what's going on with those. So just some additional factors that have to be taken into consideration before these types of prostheses are made, because sometimes if you have excessive clenching and grinding forces, you can fracture the denture, you can cause the implants to fail. So that's another factor that has to be considered. Generally, this clenching and grinding risk goes up if you're dealing with a male patient, because men, generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, are going to be able to generate larger forces with their jaw muscles than could a female patient. Also, if you just want to know more about clenching and grinding and how to deal with the problems those can cause for your teeth and jaws and muscles, I have another video on my channel that really goes into detail on that and gives you some ideas on how to treat it and manage it so that it doesn't cause, significant problems with your natural teeth. And a lot of those things would also apply if you're going to get one of these implant-supported dentures. So when we chew on natural teeth, we create about 200 newtons of force. Isaac Newton, the guy who invented gravity or whatever. Sidebar, we're going to go off on a tangent. Funny comedian Brad Wenzel, he has a pretty good joke about Isaac Newton where he talks about if an apple had fallen on his head, he would have invented fruit helmets. Yeah. Clearly everyone needs fruit helmets for these type of sitting under tree situations. So that would have been Brad's contribution to humankind. It's fun. Yeah, anyway, Brad Wenzel, funny comedian. You should go. He has an album out on all of the things. It's called Sweet Nothings. You should go listen to that. I actually think that the photo on his profile on Spotify is a photo I took of him at Go Bananas. So another reason you should clearly listen to his album and enjoy that. I just figured you guys could use something that would be more entertaining than this video. You're like all sitting here like listening to my boring lecture on dentures. I'm giving you a comedy album that's very funny that you can go listen to enjoy yourself for a little bit after having sat through what I just did to you. Brad Wenzel, he was on Conan a bunch of times before Conan switched from like TV to podcast and stuff. So Brad Wenzel, Sweet Nothings, fruit helmets, Isaac Newton. So anyway, what I was talking about, chewing forces, right? Natural teeth, we can get about 200 newtons of force. If you clench and grind, if you have that habit with your natural teeth, you can get up to about 800 newtons of force. If you have traditional dentures, right, no implants involved, regular dentures, your biting forces are only going to be between 20 and 80 newtons, right? So you can't chew food up as well. That's one of the reasons why you just can't generate the same force when those dentures are just sitting on top of your jaws instead of actually integrated, a part of them. But if you give somebody implants, right, a screw-retained implant denture, they can generate up to 1,200 newtons of force, right? That's even more, significantly more, than we can generate with our natural teeth. And you might be thinking, that sounds great, I can generate all this force with my powerful new super teeth, his power level's over 9,000, over 9,000, his power level, it's over 9,000. I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z as a kid. I very much identify with Vegeta. Yeah, if you put the sorting hat on my head, I would definitely be a Slytherin, Goku, more of a Gryffindor. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. Let's go. Let's move on. The point is, it's not actually good to put that much pressure on your brand spanking new tooth substitutes, right? You can actually fracture the denture with these forces. You can cause the implants to fail, right? They disintegrate from the bone in your jaws, right? That we need those implants locked into the jawbone. You put them under too much pressure, that connection to the jawbone can break down. They can't handle that force. And the other tricky thing about screw-retained implants is you can't tell that you're clenching and grinding and biting so hard on these things, right? Because our natural teeth have something called proprioception, right? When you close down on your natural teeth, you get a sense of how hard those teeth are coming together, how hard they're hitting. When you take all your natural teeth out and you put implants in, you lose almost all of that. So we get kind of clumsy with our implant-supported dentures, right? We don't really have a sense of how much they're clanking and slapping together, and we can cause some damage because of that. So as dentists, we have to be careful about how we design the way your bite comes together, how your teeth all hit together when you're chewing and grinding and clenching, because we've got to distribute those forces in a way that it's not going to cause the denture to fracture or chip, and it's not going to cause the implants to fail. This brings me to another one of the limitations of screw-retained implant-supported dentures. We cannot extend the teeth as far back into the mouth as we can natural teeth. Let's say we put in 4 implants for a patient. We're limited to extending that denture back to what we call about the second premolar or first molar region. Most people's natural teeth go back to the second molar region, right? So there's more teeth to chew with toward the back of the mouth. Most patients are going to do okay with this situation, but some patients may notice that they have less to chew with, that they sort of miss having those back teeth. If that's the case, you could put in additional implants and put crowns on those implants to give you more to chew with on the back teeth, but obviously that's going to be even more expensive than this already relatively expensive treatment. We just can't extend the denture back that far because you risk fracturing the denture or causing problems with the implants, right? You obviously don't want that. Also, I strongly recommend that patients wearing screw-retained implant dentures wear a night guard, right? You can still clench and grind your teeth at night. Wearing a night guard is going to take a lot of that direct pressure, that direct denture to denture pressure off of these, less likely to chip them, less likely to cause a fracture. So just because you don't have natural teeth anymore doesn't mean you shouldn't wear a night guard. The message I'm trying to drive home here is that you shouldn't suddenly think of yourself as invincible once you have these cool, awesome new teeth. Right? There are still things that we have to take into consideration. There are still limitations. They can fracture from excessive force. Excessive force can cause the implants to fail. The implants can get infected if you don't clean well around them and clean well underneath the denture. That can cause the whole thing to fail and you have to start all over. There can be aesthetic failures. The way it looks can be off if you don't plan things properly. Don't take into consideration things like lip support and lip position, right? That's all really important. If you can't clean well underneath these prostheses, you can have consistent gum irritation that can be very uncomfortable. Also, if at the time of the surgery, the implants aren't placed in the right positions or the bone isn't reshaped and recontoured in the right way, you can end up with a situation where it's really hard to get a good looking denture in place that's also going to be durable, right? The look may be off. It may be more prone to fracturing if there's not enough space available to make a thick enough denture. So you want to make sure you're working with an experienced dental implant provider when you're having that surgery. I have also seen failures because these screw-in dentures have been placed on patients who did not have a compatible set of teeth on the opposite arch, right? It matters when you put in a screw retained denture and you only do it on one arch of the teeth. You got to be careful with that, because what is it biting up against? A lot of these dental corporations who are advertising, new teeth in a day, get your teeth right away, all that stuff, might be a little bit too eager to go ahead and have your treatment completed when maybe that's not 100% in your best interest. I've heard stories about some pretty high pressure, sales tactics being used on people, really trying to push people into treatment. This is not a decision you want to rush, right? You want to take your time, you want to ask questions, you want to make sure you really understand what your treatment's going to be like, what you're getting into, what the long-term prognosis might be. For example, I saw a patient who had one of these zirconia, full arch zirconia screw retained dentures. Zirconia is a very hard material. You've heard of like zirconia diamonds. It's also a material we use when we make crowns for people's teeth. Very hard material. So this is a block of zirconia that was reshaped to look like a patient's teeth that was attached to these implants, screwed into place, but the opposing arch had implant supported ceramic bridges. Well, when that zirconia started hitting against those ceramic crowns and bridges, they all shattered, right? Those materials were not compatible with each other. So then this patient was in a situation where basically they had to do a whole nother surgery and redo that entire upper arch. If a different material had been used on the lower arch, maybe that wouldn't have happened. The patient probably should have been a little more informed about that potential risk. You just want to make sure you're exploring your full range of treatment options. And when you go to some of these offices where they only do one treatment and one treatment only, they don't really have an incentive to explain much of anything else to you. Other things I want you to be aware of before you make this decision. These dentures and implants still require home care and maintenance, right? You need to wear a night guard. You need to be cleaning under these thoroughly with a water flosser and also with floss. That is not optional, right? Unless you want to go through round 2 of this whole ordeal and have new implants placed and have new prostheses made. And I promise you, after you've done this once, you're not going to want to do it again. You need to be using a water flosser, morning and evening. You should also be using spongy super floss to floss underneath these prostheses and around your implants, right? You want to wrap that around your implants, clean the sides of your implants off. Usually it's going to be easier to clean under the lower implant supported denture because we can leave some space between the lower denture and the gum tissue. We can't leave that same space on the upper because it'll affect your ability to talk, right? You'll get lisping and like whistling because air will pass underneath the upper denture. That's no good. So it's going to be a little bit more effort keeping that upper denture clean. You are still going to need to check in with your dentist for periodic maintenance appointments. Don't go completely MIA after you get this denture. Different dentists argue about the exact maintenance requirements for these prostheses. The American College of Prosthodontists, that's a prosthodontist is a dentist who went to school for several years after I finished dental school. I'm not a prosthodontist, so they went to school longer than I did, and residency. And prosthodontists, basically, they're dentists that specialize in the replacement of teeth. So this is very much their wheelhouse. So the American College of Prosthodontists, they put out a guideline statement on the maintenance of these screw retained dentures. And basically their recommendation is to not remove these unless there is a problem. Problems could include excessive wear on the teeth, chipping of the teeth, fractures of the prosthesis, screw loosening, screw fracture, some kind of a problem with one of the implants, bone loss. However, if you're not having any of those issues, if your dentist inspects your prostheses, your implant screw retained dentures, and everything looks good, everything feels good to you, there's not really a reason to take these out. You should still see your dentist, have them evaluate everything, take some x-rays to check on the implants, make sure the bone levels around all the implants are steady. But if everything looks healthy, probably just leave well enough alone, right? So these can be a little bit lower maintenance than natural teeth, but low maintenance does not mean zero maintenance. You still need to follow the recommendations and the protocols that your dentist gives you when you have this treatment. And you might be thinking, what do you mean dentists argue about the right way to take care of these prostheses? Why do they argue? Why isn't there a consensus? Aren't you all supposed to be smart or something? Like, what's going on here? Why can't you fix my problem perfectly and answer all of my questions exactly how I want? Well, these screw-in dentures are relatively new as a treatment option, and we don't have long-term data on how they function and perform, right? So we're kind of, this is an evolving science. We're figuring it out as we go. The treatment protocols change from time to time. Things get updated as we encounter problems. Different brands of implants are being used by various dentists. The actual dentures themselves that screw into the implants are made out of all kinds of different types of materials and mixtures of materials. Some of them have titanium frameworks, and then they have acrylic dentures put on top of that. Sometimes there's zirconia layered on top of the metal. Some are pure zirconia. Some of them are being made out of something called graphene nano-reinforced biopolymer. There are composite hybrid dentures or PMMA dentures. There's a whole bunch of different materials being experimented with and tried out in people's mouths. So we're figuring it out, but we don't have all the answers yet. And some of these materials are actually meant to be more of a temporary denture material, but if a patient doesn't have the money to afford the more expensive, stronger, durable materials, and they don't have any teeth, they might be willing to give it a try and risk it on a temporary material. And again, to beat my drum about our natural teeth, that is the type of teeth that we have the most long-term data on how to keep them healthy, how to make them last a long time. I have lots of tips on my channel to help you with that. So if you or anyone you know could use a hand maintaining their natural teeth, check out those other videos. It might be simpler than you think it is. Spread the word to your friends and family, right? Natural teeth are very valuable, right? But if you've already lost your teeth or you know you're going to get dentures, I also want this video to make it easier for you to do that and make that process a little bit smoother for you, right? I'm crafty like that. I'm playing both sides. All right, so let's say you understand all of my warnings, all of my precautions, you get it, but you are still 100% on board and excited to get these things, right? You want implant-supported screw-retained dentures. You're excited about it. You like it. You want to be able to chew again. You want to be able to talk again. You want to be able to flash a brand new, beautiful smile. Yippee! Woohoo! Yeah, buddy, let's do this thing. This is still going to be a little bit of a hurry up and wait situation. You're like, come on, man, give me some good news. You are typically still only going to get a temporary denture screwed in on the day of your surgery, sometimes the day after. Why is that? A couple reasons. Number one, even though you can chew on a denture that is supported by at least 4 implants, you can chew on it right away, you still have to be careful about how much force gets applied to those implants. The temporary dentures are more lightweight and they won't generate the same level of force. You also need to stick to a softer food diet for the first 4 months or so. A good rule for what you're allowed to eat during this time is anything that you can cut with the side of a plastic fork, right? Keywords, side of and plastic, right? For those first 4 months, anything you can cut with the side of a plastic fork, whatever. I've been talking a lot, it's difficult. Anything you can cut with the side of a plastic fork, that's soft enough that you can eat with these temporary dentures during the first 4 months, right? You're still in training wheels right now with your new teeth. You can't go ripping down the highway at 100 miles an hour yet. Here's the other thing, and a lot of people don't like this, but it's the truth. Sometimes your surgeon cannot get enough stability in the bone with your implants on the day of your surgery to attach your temporary dentures. This is rarely going to be the case with the lower jaw, but it can happen with the upper jaw because the upper jaw, the bone just isn't as dense. So keep that in mind. Even though you're getting these teeth in a day, these implant-supported dentures, you may be stuck in immediate dentures that aren't that comfortable, that are kind of loose, that are kind of a pain in the butt for those first 4 months. You're still going to get the same final result, but you may have those first 4 months that you're not so happy. Not everybody realizes that. The second reason you're going to be put in a temporary denture first is that then gives your dentist the opportunity to do wax try-ins before making your final denture. Just like with immediate dentures that I discussed earlier in the video, these immediate temporary dentures are a little bit of a guess, right? We're not exactly sure how they're going to look in your mouth until we screw them into place. You're not going to know whether or not you like them until you see them. So that's why we do wax try-ins before we make the final denture, right? You screw in the wax try-in, you get to see exactly what that new denture is going to look like before you spend the money to have a lab make the new denture that's going to screw in out of the more expensive materials. So again, even with this super fancy, awesome teeth in a day treatment that we have, You may not like how your teeth look initially, but 4 months down the road, you've been given the opportunity to fine-tune things. You know exactly what those teeth are going to look like, and you've been able to give feedback on what they look like, so you know that the final dentures that are going to be screwed in the end are teeth that you're going to be happy with. Hopefully, all of this is making sense and you now understand a little bit more about all the work and planning that goes into making something like this to replace your teeth. They aren't easy to make, right? A lot of people are involved, a lot of times a prosthodontist or a general dentist, your oral surgeon, the lab technician, all of their support staff. There's a lot that goes into replacing the loss of your teeth. That's why they're expensive. But it's also why I would prefer to teach everyone how to keep their natural teeth healthy so that you don't have to go through this. Because it's actually not that complicated to keep your natural teeth healthy. So anyway, please ask me questions in the comments. I'm sure that there are things that I didn't explain well enough or that I left out or things that you want to know more about. Hit up the comments. And I know I've gone a little bit into the weeds with this video, and sometimes I do that with these videos, but the point is to try to create a full resource of information, the kind of information that you're not typically going to get in a dental office visit because there's not enough time to really thoroughly explain these things. A lot of stuff slips through the cracks with patients and they end up confused or they don't understand something. The beautiful thing about videos is you can rewind it and you can watch something if you didn't understand it, and you can ask clarifying questions in the comments and I can try to address those as well. I promise I'm not trying to spook anybody or discourage you with all this talk about how hard it is to replace teeth. Part of my goal with this channel is to paint a realistic picture of what happens when dental health goes south and the actual steps that it takes to get healthy again. The truth hurts, but it will also set you free. How's that for some trite bull hockey to close out this video? Anyway, I wish you all the best, no matter what tooth decision you decide on. Please do all the likes, the shares, the subscribes, the comments. Blast me in the comments section. Tell me all the things I did wrong. I'll try to do better. I'll try to be better. All right? Have a nice day. Here I go with the snapping again. Video start, video end. Get some fresh air, read a book, kick a punching bag, punch a kicking bag. Bye-bye.